The night air was thick with mist, rolling over the prison yard like a ghostly tide. The waves crashed against the rocky island, their rhythm steady, unbroken. Inside the cells of Alcatraz, men lay motionless in their bunks, lost in uneasy dreams. But in 3 of those cells, something was different. The figures lying there weren't breathing. They weren't even real. Frank Morris lay on his stomach, heart pounding, fingers tracing the edge of the hole he had spent months carving. It was just big enough. The air in the utility corridor beyond was damp, metallic. He turned his head slightly, whispering to the darkness behind him. A faint shuffle, then John Anglin's hand appeared, followed by his brother Clarence. They were moving fast, but not too fast. One wrong step, one misplaced sound, and it was over. Frank went first, slithering through the narrow opening. He sucked in his breath as his back scraped against the rough concrete. He was through. The brothers followed, John first, then Clarence. They crouched in silence, listening. The prison hummed around them, the distant murmur of a guard clearing his throat, the rattle of iron against iron. But no footsteps nearby. The plan had been simple in theory, brutal in execution. Months of carving with makeshift tools, stealing raincoats from the prison laundry, piecing together a crude raft in secret. If they failed now, none of it would matter. Frank moved quickly, leading them up a series of pipes toward the rooftop. The climb was treacherous, rusted metal groaning beneath their weight. A loose screw rolled into the darkness below, and all 3 froze. Silence. No alarms. They reached the top, crouching low against the cold concrete. The city lights flickered beyond the bay, a cruel reminder of the world they had been locked away from. There was no time for hesitation. Dropping down to the yard was the hardest part. A single misstep, and they would be spotted. They timed it perfectly, moving between the shadows, backs against the walls. The raft was waiting, stashed exactly where they had left it. The water was merciless, black and shifting, stretching between them and freedom. They waded in, teeth gritted against the cold. The raft barely held together as they pushed off, paddles slapping weakly against the waves. The current was stronger than they had anticipated, dragging them south instead of east. They fought against it, muscles burning, breath coming in gasps. Hours passed. The island became a distant shape, swallowed by the night. Their limbs ached, the water creeping into their bones. The wind shifted. Frank felt his fingers slip from the paddle. A wave crashed over them. The raft lurched violently. Clarence shouted something, his voice lost to the wind. John reached for him, but the water pulled him under. Frank lunged forward, grabbing at the darkness, but there was nothing. Only the endless, empty sea. The raft drifted, battered and broken, until the city lights no longer seemed any closer than they had before. Their plan had been to steal clothes, a car, anything, to vanish. But now, survival itself was uncertain. The night stretched on. The cold was unbearable. Another wave, another shift in the current. Then, silence. By dawn, Alcatraz was in chaos. Guards stormed through the prison, prisoners pressed against their bars, whispering, speculating. The cells were empty. The dummy heads lay undisturbed. The impossible had happened. Search teams combed the bay, dragging nets through the freezing waters. No bodies surfaced. Helicopters scoured the coastline. No sign of life. Days passed. Theories spread. Had they drowned, their bodies lost to the depths? Or had they made it to shore, disappearing into the streets, slipping into history? Years went by. The FBI followed every lead, rumors of sightings, whispers of letters sent home, but nothing concrete. The case grew colder. In 1979, it was closed. But not forgotten. The waters of the bay remained unchanged, the city lights still flickered in the distance, and somewhere, maybe, 3 men walked free.